Wool is weaker when wet. If you don't believe me, I'm going to show you. Hey, this is Mary from Camaj Fiber Arts. I have a little bit of a dilemma. First of all, I want to show you the dilemma, and then second, I'm going to show you something else. Okay, this is just a beautiful merino. Check this out. Can you see the waves in that? But when I get up close, look at the little crimps in that. This is a really beautiful merino, but what do you see? This staple is very short. Now, the person that sold it to me said that the sheep had twins, she was pregnant, so maybe all the energy went into making those little babies, and she had sort of a short staple length in her fleece this past year, and she's a little bit older. But nonetheless, this is very, very soft and very, very fine. So I'm not mad, but to comb this is going to be a little bit of a challenge. Okay, the next thing is I want to show you how strong this staple is. I'm going to pull a thin piece because I want to show you I'm testing the staple strength, and you can see, I'm pulling pretty hard. This is a very strong staple from tip to cut end. What you're going to see is once I scour this when it's wet, how it's going to break and stretch, and then when it dries, how it's strong again. So the reason wool is weak when it's wet is there are hydrogen bonds that hold the fiber together. That is its chemical structure. But the issue is when it gets wet, water molecules replace some of those hydrogen bonds and it becomes weak. That's why when you scour it, be very gentle. You want to pick it up underneath and when you move it. And that is another reason you don't wet yarn, because it's inherently weak. Okay, so let me scour this. I'll come back and I'm going to show you. We're going to card a little bit. I think it's going to nepp up, but we'll see. I'm going to use soap formulated for wools. It might get rid of that. I might have to sort of clean the tips, but we'll see. And then I'm going to comb some as well and see how that turns out. Okay, I'll be back with our little experiment and show you later. Here's the scoured merino. Isn't that pretty? Look how white that is. But check this out. So I just put this in my spin dryer and it's still wet. Let me grab a staple. Okay, so there's a staple, but check this out too. When I took off that lanolin, look how this even got smaller. Oh, that's going to be, but then it stretches back to its original length. This is going to be hard to comb, but anyway. Okay, so let me show you how it breaks when it's wet. So it breaks all along the lock because those water molecules are still in place where those strong hydrogen molecules are in the wool structure. So when this dries, it will be strong again, and I'll show you that as well. But here we go again, and it's just tearing apart. So what does that mean? This means if you're testing the strength of your wool when it's wet, you're going to get a false reading. If you try to comb this when it's wet, it's going to break. If you try to pick it when it's wet or damp, it's going to break. If you try to drum card it when your wool is wet, it's going to break. It is weak because of the water molecules in the wool. Okay, let this dry. I will come back and show you how strong it is once it dries. Okay, let's take a look at the scoured. But first of all, this is the raw. Okay, and this is a lock of the scoured, but see how short it got? But I want to show you something. If I hold both ends and I pull this out, it has so much spring to it. Look at how much spring. This has the lanolin in it, so this may not be as springy as this one, but it's super springy. But let me show you the strength of the lock. So this has a lot of strength now that it's completely dried and it's back to its solid state. Okay, let me show you some of the bats that I made. This one is from the Brother 90 TPI, and you can see some nepps in there. Maybe it's second cuts or maybe it's breaking, but check this out. Look at this. Look at that loft in that fiber. That's really crazy. Okay, and this is from the Brother Triple Carder. It also has a few nepps. It may have broken or it may have had some second cuts because this is a very fine merino and sometimes it doesn't take well to drum carding, but watch, I wanted to show you. I want to show you how springy that is. Let me bring this out a little bit and show you. Okay, so look at the spring in that. I'm not even pulling the bat apart. This is just so springy. All right, so there you go. That is the bat made from that super fine merino. Okay, so now we're going to try to comb some, and this is going to be a little bit tricky because this is so short. This is such a short fiber, and you saw how it snapped back. It's going to be tricky. Okay, so I'm going to rough comb it, and I talk about rough combing in my extravaganza class and exactly what it is. So this is not a true worsted prep because the cut end and the tip of the fiber is all mixed up, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter unless you want a true worsted prep. Okay, so let's get some on the comb. But see how short that is? Let's give it a try. I may have to just spin this off the comb because I don't think I'm going to be able to diz that off. That's really short. But it's giving you some options of what you can do with really short, fine wools or fine merinos. Because when you card them, you do get some nepp formation. Okay, so that is how long that is. It's not very long. Let's go ahead and put that on this comb again. I've got some little nepps in there. I'm just going to try to take them off. They might be second cuts. Because the staple was sound, so I can't imagine that the staple would be breaking. Okay, so this is pretty much, that's pretty much it. That's only about 1.5 inches. I mean, let's see, we could probably, let's see if I can hand diz some of this off. Well, I mean, it's possible. Just keep your drafting length short because the staple is quite short. So it's doable if you wanted to do that. Or you can spin it directly off the comb. Okay, so that is a fine grain merino. And I really just wanted to show you how it breaks. And I also wanted to show you how to have these really short fibers and get the most out of them.